Hello everyone. It's time for another video. It's been a while, but I don't like to put out videos unless I have something good to share. Uh, but anyway, so here goes. Now, a lot of you have downloaded the download package from me, and it's been a while, but now I have an update to those files. And the update is fairly substantial. There's some very good items in it pertaining to mortgages and how to fight back on your traffic cases and stuff like that. And also, the main thing in this package is the subrogation information. Now, a lot of you may not even know what subrogation is, so I'll give you a little heads up as to what it is. When you have a court case brought against you, the prosecutor is bound to bring bonds to the trial. And these bonds are there to protect you. They are bid bond, performance bond, and there's one other one I can't recall offhand. But the thing is that the prosecutor has to buy these bonds. And he has to buy them to protect you in case he does anything to screw you up or the court screws you up, and takes liability away from him in the court. Now, there's one problem with this. Subrogation is a way for you to take over those bonds that he bought for you. Now, the reason you can do that is because he bought the bonds in your name. Isn't that lovely? Huh? I don't know where you come from, but where I come from, that's fraud. He bought them for you. It's like me buying an insurance policy on you. And it's exactly the same thing. There's only one way that that's any good, and that's if I do something wrong and you get angry and want to cause a lawsuit against him. He's protected. The trouble is, he can't do that. Now, they require it to be done. And that's why it's said that the prosecutor has to bring his checkbook when he goes to court, because he may have to use it to pay your bills. Well, when we pull the subrogation trick on these guys, they're forced to pay that bond. Now, you, because they're in your name, you can take control of those bonds. Now, that means, see, those bonds are the ones that if something goes bad with you, you go to jail or something else, then those bonds are sold on the open market, and they get a lot of cash for them. So, if you take control of them, you take that away from them, and they can't do it. They can't use your bonds to protect themselves. So they either have to dismiss your case, or you can cash in the bonds. And you can tell the judge, look, I'm making you the trustee, and I'm ordering you to set off, settle, and close this case. And then when you get done, if there's any money left in those bonds, it goes to me, the beneficiary. You see how that works? Let me tell you something. They don't want you knowing this. This is the secret shit that they pull all the time. But it's technically fraud, and you could bring a lawsuit against them and win. So the best option is to drop your case. Dismiss it. Now, if you should do that and get your case dismissed, make sure that you tell them to dismiss it with prejudice. Because believe me, they'll try and get you again. My grandson and I put in paperwork for his court case, which was a traffic ticket, and we've been in court dancing around this thing for over a year now. We had the first, when he first went in there, he got it dismissed. Then, after that dismissal, the prosecutor decided to do it again, to try and do the case again and bring it forward. We put a notice to dismiss the case, a motion to dismiss the case, and the judge again dismissed it. So they did that twice. Now, just recently, the cop, believe me, this case is so effed up because everything he put on that ticket is all wrong. The dates are for a year ago, so he would have had to be psychic. And first of all, I believe that there's a statute of limitations. It's that we've reached the end of it. But at any rate, we're going through the same thing again. We just put in a motion to dismiss based on subrogation. So we're going to see how that goes. But we're going to submit all the same documents and all the same stuff that we did the first time because that worked. So we'll see how everything goes. But anyway, that information on how to do that is contained in this update. Now we're charging $25 for the update. And I believe it's well worth it. So, if you decide you want the update, just send me an email to the same one that's on the website. The website is National Public Record Registry.info. All lowercase and no spaces in between the words. So that should get you to the website. And there's a ton of other stuff in there too that will help you with any court cases or insurance that you have. If you have debt collectors coming after you, this will give you information on how to handle that. Now, finally, my grandson has got his notary. It's approved, and sometime this week, I think, we'll be starting doing notary services. So that means the reason you need a notary is because if you have a court case and you're going to submit affidavits, if you just take and submit your affidavit to the court, they're going to ignore it. They're not even going to look at it. They don't care what you do in your affidavits. And that's just the cold hard facts, the way it is. However, if you have a notary that sends these things to the judge as evidence in the case, he cannot deny it. And he can't just hide them and not look at them. Because you have submitted them. You are an officer of the court when you're a notary. And when you submit the documents as evidence to the judge, he has to do it. He has to do what he's supposed to do. So, what's the best thing for you? You want your items sent in? Then you can email your items to me, and my grandson will submit them to the court, which you will need to provide us all that information. But he will send it to the court, and he will be a witness that it was sent there. So they can't get away with their bullshit. Now, also, if you're using your copyright the way I mentioned to you in previous videos, if you have a debt collector coming after you, and you have your copyright on my website, now you can use that to retaliate against these people. Well, maybe I shouldn't say retaliate, but to use your rights to your benefit. Let's say that they sent you letters with your copyrighted property, which is what looks like your name, the artwork that looks like your name, and then you can go ahead and send them invoices for infringing on your copyright. Now, this whole process, you have to send it like 3 times, and then you can default them, and then you can do a default judgment on them. The notary can do it for you. It's just like them having a court case. If they ignore your documents, then they're admitting that they're in the wrong and they're committing fraud. So if we do the mailings for you, we can do the documents, we can do the mailings, and we can send them to the debt collectors, and that goes for the IRS too. Yeah, same thing. They're nothing more than a debt collector. So you can send them the same kind of documents. It's a default process. It's what they do to you. They send you like 6 of these things, and by the time you get done, now they can do a default judgment on you. And you can do the same thing. You have the same rules that apply to you. So that works out good for that. Also for international commercial claims. Now, I don't know if any of you are familiar with those, but they're all contained in my download packet. Excuse me. And that would be the the original download of the 16 gigabytes of data. So that it's just a much more powerful tool because it turns into a lien when you get finished, and that's important. But also, at the same time, you can be doing a copyright process on them because they violated your copyright, and especially if they keep on sending you stuff, oh boy, yeah, they're in trouble. So those are some of the uses that the notary is good for you. Now, there's a lot of uses that these things can be done for you. Now, if you're doing any of these processes, sometimes the documentation can be very difficult for just somebody that's never done it before to do it. Now, we are going to go ahead and do all of that paperwork for you. Do the mailings, do the 3-step process, and you won't have to touch it other than when it's all done, taking them to court, small claims court, and getting your business done and making them pay. So this whole thing is a very beneficial thing to you guys out there who are doing these kind of processes. So don't be afraid to call and ask. Either me or my grandson will talk to you about it and try to help you out. Now, you just have to remember that nothing is guaranteed, but this is giving you the best possible chance you have to handle this stuff. Now, if you have an impending traffic case, I suggest that you go down to the courthouse and request that they do a continuance for like 60 days. So that means even if you have a week before you got to go to trial, you should be able to go down to the courthouse and get a continuance for 60 days. Just tell them that you're doing an administrative process and you need that time to do the mailings and so forth. That they'll understand what that is. That will give you time for us to send documentation to the court as evidence, and maybe you'll get as lucky as my grandson has gotten. Alright, so that's enough for this video, but we wish you all luck and and hope you would like to take advantage of our services. And we're gonna try and keep it so that it's fairly good fees for doing this. And you realize that if you went to a lawyer, first of all they wouldn't do this for you because they'd get disbarred for doing it. But if they could do it for you, believe me, they would charge you $2,000-3,000 to do it. So if we get a couple of $100 for doing it, well, that's pretty fair. All right, so thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time. Bye.